Hi there, I'm Nancy from Black Sheep Knitting in Needham, Massachusetts. Our weekly podcast is devoted to tips and tricks and hints and some tutorials, and also showing you projects, ideas for new yarn, and goings on about the shop, updates for those things. I was going to do as a tutorial rush and join, but I've been having shoulder problems and I haven't been able to use my hand very well, so that'll have to wait till next week because my shoulder was locked in a terrible place all day today. But we won't go on to that. Go on. I did want to remind those of you who are not close to the shop that we are offering free shipping for the month of April, and who knows, may go a little longer, we'll see. I wanted to remind you of some workshops. The Bruce Weinstein workshop, I believe, is full. I'm not sure. We'll have to look. I think I looked this morning and it looked like it had been signed up. I could be wrong, so stay tuned on that. Coming up is Julia Farwell-Clay, who is a local designer, and she is going to do a workshop on April 29th. I think I told her it was going to be in the morning, but I think I've changed it. No, I told her it was going to be in the afternoon. I think I've changed it to the morning because April 29th is Local Yarn Shop Day. And we are going to have a couple surprises. One will be, we might have some things on sale, and we will also have a trunk show of an indie dyer from Cape Town, South Africa, and her yarns are called Cowgirl Blues. And we have some beautiful, beautiful yarns of hers. So they will be here in the shop for sale, not on sale, there's no discount on them, but they'll be here as a trunk show. And we may have another surprise in store. So do save that date. It's April 29th from 1 to 5. I wanted to show you, so Julia Farwell-Clay is going to show some great tips and tricks. You'll love her. She's a great designer, knitter, and an all-around fun person to be around. So I think you'll want to do that workshop. We'll have a sign up for that. I believe, well, we'll have it as of this weekend. So you can sign up when this comes out. It'll be online and as a workshop, and you can sign up. So please do. You'll enjoy it. So I want to talk to you, about another thing. So it's about 85 degrees and climbing here in Needham today, and that made me think of putting away my winter sweaters. So after a winter's worth of wearing woolens, it's time to wash them. And I've done videos on blocking before, and you can go back and reference those and others. But I did want to say a few things about washing. Yarn is antimicrobial, I believe that's the term. And I think that means that it doesn't have germ. I don't know what that means, but I know that you don't have to wash wool as much as you have to like a rayon or a cotton or something. But you will after a season of wearing. If you haven't washed them, you should. I recommend, do one a day or one a week. You've got, the whole summer to do it. So don't feel like it's some onerous thing that you have to, do all at once. And I just throw mine in the sink. I fold them up, put them in the sink, and in cool water, and I use Eucalyptus, which is a non-rinse. You don't have to rinse this, so that means you don't have to agitate the yarn, so you don't have to worry about it felting at all. So I leave it in for 20 minutes, half an hour, and then I just rinse it in cool water if I decide to rinse, but you don't have to. You squeeze the water out, lift your folded piece up into a towel, wrap it in the towel. You can stand on it just to get the excess water out. And this is eucalyptus. We carry it in the shop, so you can buy it online or in the shop. And you then can put it out on one of these handy pop-up dryers from, I can't think. I can never think. From Cocoa Knits. And they're great. I use mine all the time for everything. You know, stuff that can't go in the dryer, I just throw it right on this. This opens up into a big piece like this. I'm not going to open it up because it pops out. It kind of explodes once you open it. And I never refold mine. Mine just stays in my bathroom. But there are questions from people about whether or not to reblock, you know, with pins and everything. And that's going to be up to you. If it's a shawl, and you should wash the shawls, you know, they get around your neck. So there's, you know, oils that get on them. If it's a shawl, I would repin it. If it's a sweater, I think you can just lay it out. If you don't want to put it on one of the dryers, you can put it on blocking boards. You can, and then just put it out and straighten it all out. If it's something that you could block the heck out of to get it to fit, you might want to reblock it. None of this takes too long, but I recommend that you do it at least once a year. I have some sweaters that I wear a lot, so I wash them more than once, but it's a good idea. Next, I want to talk about knitting failures. So you guys are not the only ones who sometimes make mistakes. So I made several mistakes on this sweater. This is called the Winslow Tee, and I saw it, immediately fell in love with it and thought, well, what do I have in my stash that I could use? So I found, this is the tee, that's the back of it, the front's the same. And I thought, I love stripes because I always collect yarns, and when I buy yarns I tend to see colors I like together. So I was traveling last fall and I stopped in a yarn shop in Hudson, New York called the Warm U. If you're in that area, it's a nice place. No, it's not Hudson, it's South Chatham or Chatham, New York. And I bought this yarn called Cotton Cashmere, and it's by Katya, which is a company. We have some of their yarns here. We have Cotton Merino. So I found this and I said, this will be perfect, I can stripe it. And I thought, you have enough yarn, it'll be fine. Well, first mistake I made was, I said on the podcast last time that, or 2 times ago, I can't remember, I had started it and said, oh, this is great, I can order this, I'll order it, I'll have it in the shop next week. Called the company and it's discontinued. So then I thought, what in the heck do I do? Well, I luckily found Rowan Cash Soft, Cash Baby Cash, I can't remember. Now I had it written down. I'm useless. In any case, we've ordered it and it's coming in. It's a sport weight. It's cashmere, merino, and a little bit of nylon. So it's essentially about the same content as this. And so I thought, well, I'm in good shape. So I got going and I got up to here and I started running out of this darker pink. So, oh dear, what do I do? So I thought, well, I'll just do I'll just do a little bit of the 2 pinks. So you can see that, and because I had already done pink on the back to end it, and I thought, well, all right, I'll just do these without the slip stitches, that'll be fine. And then I made any number of mistakes in ending these. So I had different amount of stitches on one side than I did on the other. And I thought, what in the heck am I going to do? So I did ultimately figured out how to fudge putting them together. I had sort of miscounted something, I don't know where. You can't really see it, I don't think. But I didn't do a great job. There were a lot of short rows on both sides. I didn't love the way they came out. And then today I tried it on and I thought, oh, this is too much of a boat neck. Well, as it turns out, it's not. And it gets a ribbing just like this at the top. And I think I have more of this color, so I'm probably going to do it in that. And then I was going to do 3/4 length sleeves, so we'll see. I found one company that had some of the yarn, so I might wait until that arrives to figure out what to do with the sleeves, because I wanted 3/4 length sleeves. So we'll see what to do, but it was just like, oh, woe is me on this sweater. So you folks are not the only ones who make mistakes. We do too. Anyway, I'm anxious to have it finished because I want to be able to wear it here in the spring. It's incredibly soft, and I'm assuming the yarn, the Rowan that I ordered, will be equally as soft. I can't imagine it won't be. I confess I haven't tried it, so I don't know, but it had the colors. So I have, so we're going to make up some kits, and I have a shawl here. Do I have the right side? No. This is the right side. It's called Color Riot, and it's made with mini skeins. This is an opportunity to buy the kit, or you can use up skeins that you have. This Color Riot is a shawl by All Knit Up Designs, and this is the pattern right here. So I was going to make up kits. Here's in the Manos Fino minis. So here is one set, and it comes with 2, 4, 5 minis. In the pattern, I think you can do as many as you like, or you can add to it. I'm trying to, I don't have the full pattern here. And you use this as the main, well, I wouldn't call it the main color, but it's the wing that forms on the bottom of the shawl. So I have this kit, which we'll call Peacock Plume. And then we have this kit. Look at these colors. Oh my goodness. These are singing to me. This one we will call, and we paired it with, these are the Fino, but we've paired it with the Manos Alegria, which is also a fingering weight. It's another one of their yarns. And this one we'll call Cactus Flower. And here's another one that's right up my alley. These are so beautiful. And some of them are slightly variegated, which makes it even more fun, or tonal. And the main colors are as well. This one is called Watered Silk. Isn't that gorgeous? So this is Fino in just their regular fingering. And lastly, we have this one, which we're going to call Topsy Turvy. So this is a beautiful one. These shades of green and gold, I think, go beautifully with this. And I think this in here may be the exact same color. It doesn't tell us. So anyway, those will be available to purchase. And then I thought I would show you some other shawls, because springtime is a great time for shawls, particularly, you know, if you're out at night or if you're in the air conditioning in the summer. It's a great thing. So I found one from a favorite designer of mine, Amba O'Brien. And I didn't particularly love this colorway, but I'll show you one of the colorways I did like. So you could use mini skeins for that, or just if you've got a fingering weight, or if you've got a bunch of little scraps, you could use those And where's the picture that I got of? This is the one that I really loved. And this one, these colors just spoke to me. And I thought a light blue with those colors would be fantastic. One thing we have in the shop, and I didn't bring them out, Robin's going to shoot me, but we have the Isayer Alpaca 2 has lots of, it has smaller amounts of colors, so you don't have to buy a whole 100-gram skein. So you could buy some colors in those, some bright springy colors, or you may just have some at home. So it calls for 6 colors. You could, of course, do as many as you like, and then you need, and so here are some beautiful, beautiful choices. And we love the Isayer Alpaca 2. It has these gorgeous colors. They have a heathered look. They're a little bit muted for those of you who are not. We, of course, have lots of other bright, bright colors here in the shop. We have some cottons that you could use that would be great. We have linens that you could use if you're not into having wool in the summer. But I highly recommend these as a choice. Then I found another pattern that...
One question is, you don't have to use the fingering because it's a shawl.
It's a shawl, so you could use...
DK if you loved it.
Yeah, if you could do a DK if you want something. And on a big needle, it would be bigger, but it'll be, it'll be really nice, more of an open kind of feel to it. So Robin's grabbing some of the Chi-Chi. This would be a great choice, and I think I posted on Instagram this yarn. This is a linen, we've shown this before. It's linen and alpaca, viscose, and a tweed, a micro tweed. But these would be fun. What if you did the background in this color and these as your other colors, the additional ones. And then this would be another one, great one for this yarn. This is called the Habitation Throw. And I've had this sitting, I have the yarn for it and everything, and I just haven't done it. But many people have made it into a shawl. So this is one of those ones that starts in the corner and gets wide in the middle, and then you could just cast off and make a big triangle. A lot of people did this as a shawl, but they also did, trying to see if there were any pictures of the shawl, but this is a great way to use mini skeins, to use bits of yarn that you have. You can use mohairs in it. You can do all kinds of things. And it's a great pattern. It's a quick knit because you can be on a bigger needle and there are all those eyelets. So that's another one I recommend. And lastly, I found this one, which I just love. This is another designer that I really like, Laura Ayler, if anybody knows her. And this is called Birdwatcher. And she did this in a fingering, but she's done it at a 5 to the inch gauge. So that means she's using a bigger needle. She says a 4. I'd probably even use, if it were me, I'd use a 6, I believe. And this is it. And you can see the different colors. They're subtle, but it allows for you to do some bright summer gorgeous knits. We have some beautiful yarns from Moondrake that would be fabulous for a bright summer shawl. And it's just an easy lace pattern. And I think it's got a, if you look at it, it has a solid that acts as a border that isolates each of the different colors. So you could do that, in a white. You could do it in any color that you wanted, depending on which colors you choose. So again, this is called Birdwatcher. So those are my little tips for today. Things to get started on for summer knitting. They're not large, so those of you who don't want to sit with heavy sweater quantities or blankets on your lap, these are great patterns. I love to take my knitting to the beach or to the pool. I know some people just think that's awful, but I love to do that. So I wish you a happy week of knitting. And we now have a surprise interview with Rosann Fleishauer, who has written a book called Coastal Knits. I believe, let me show you this, you'll see it in a minute, Cozy Coastal Knits. So stay tuned for that interview. And I hope you have a great week of knitting. See you soon. I'm sitting here with Rosann Fleishauer, who has written a book called Cozy Coastal Knits. This is a little flyer. And this just looks so interesting to me because I love this kind of thing. So maybe you could tell us how you got started and something about what's in the book.
Sure. Thank you very much for having me
You're
today.
welcome.
It's wonderful to on a nice sunny day
Yeah.
to start off with some lovely folks. I was working as a management consultant, and I started to work with clients in the fiber industry.
Really?
Yes. And I thought, well, this is rather interesting. This is a lot more interesting than international finance.
Yes.
So what I did was I started to create a portfolio of work, and I approached a couple of publishers about publishing my designs. So once I got a few designs published, I started to teach, and I actually took myself on as a client. I just thought it would be more interesting to see what could I do as my own case study. I had gone to Babson, so I read a lot of case studies.
Yes.
And when I was at home, when the world was closed, I really didn't have a lot of avenues to get out and meet with people and talk to people. So I contacted all of the knitters that I knew and the companies with whom I had worked in the past. And I thought, you know what? We're all stuck at home. Why don't we do something together? So I approached the Center for Women in Enterprise, which is one of the organizations with whom I've worked in the past, and they helped me get a grant from the Small Business Administration, so that everybody that worked on the book got paid for their work. We were able to pay for the yarn from the local yarn companies that were involved, the local yarn stores who helped us locate our indie dyers, and we were able to work with a photographer who happened to have time in her schedule because she didn't have as many engagements. So we were very excited to sort of see all the pieces come together.
Wow. Wow. So how many pieces are in the collection?
There are 21 pieces in the collection. Some of them I had sample knit, some of them had been sample knit by the group of women that I knew who are all members of the Long Island Knitting Guild. That's how I happened to meet them. And thanks to video conferencing, we were all able to work together.
Oh, wow. Had you lived on Long Island, or is that how did you contact these people?
I actually live part-time in both places. I'm up here in Massachusetts, and I'm down on Long Island. So the cozy coastal concept is from Oyster Bay, New York.
Oh, great.
So-
And what kind of pieces are in the book?
What we did was we tried to come up with a selection of items that people would want to make if they were in a social setting and wanted something relatively easy, or maybe something for some contemplated knitting. And so there are a selection of ponchos that can be made either as ponchos or shawls. There is a men's sweater. There is a women's skirt.
Oh, fun.
Oh,
I'm knitting a skirt right now.
Are you? Which one?
It's from Bare Naked Wool's Ann Hansen.
Ah,
It's her, and now I can't remember the name.
that's
of it.
okay. I'll
Do you
have to
know
look
her?
it up. I know
Look it
her
up.
work.
It's beautiful. Yeah. It's,
Yes.
Yeah, it's great.
She has a very good tech editor.
Yeah, she does. Oh,
So
yeah.
I'm sure it'll be a fabulous pattern.
Yeah.
And then we also have some accessory pieces. So if you wanted just a small piece to keep in the car, or you wanted something to do when you're standing in line at the bank. Now that we're out and about a little bit more, it's kind of interesting to have a small project again.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So there's cowls, mitts, and hats.
And how many designers did you have for the book?
I did all of the designs.
Oh, so you did the designs.
Yes. And then I hired 8 women to work on the sample knitting, the tech editing,
That's what I misunderstood. Yeah.
and to do the swatching too, because we wanted to make sure that the yarns were the right yarns to pair.
Yeah, you have to.
And it was really interesting doing that. I'm sure you must see when you have people come into the shop and you have 6 people make a swatch, how different the 6 are up and down.
Absolutely.
Isn't it interesting?
Yeah.
So it was very interesting seeing the results that they got from different yarns, different needles, even just on a different day.
Yeah.
If it was a really hot day and they were working with a particular fiber, it may flow more easily and
Yes.
more difficult
Oh,
on the needles.
interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what was the hardest part about doing this book?
I'm a people person, and I would have preferred to have seen people in person.
Oh, because
It
you were
was
doing
hard.
it all.
Everything was done remotely. I didn't meet the photographer in person until the day of the photo shoot, or the stylist who did the makeup and hair, and the model. I had pictures to go from, and I didn't have the opportunity to meet with the women who were doing the test knittings and just get an idea of how do they work. You know, did they want to work with a particular fiber? What was the look on their face when they were working on something? I find that when I teach, it's easier to get sort of a rhythm going if people feel calm. You must see that in the store.
Oh, yes. Yeah, yeah.
And just to be around the table together, there's a social aspect of it.
Yeah. Where were you teaching?
I teach via Zoom. I've always taught remotely.
Oh.
And I run knit-alongs remotely. And then I had been working with the shop that is closest to me in New York, which is Knit Long Island. I worked on their retreat, and I teach for stitches.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Oh, that's really fun. What was the easiest part about doing this? Was it? I mean, it must have been fun for you ultimately after all that hard work.
It was a big challenge finding a publicist who would take a chance on us. You know, you get a phone call from somebody out of the blue, and you kind of wonder, well, who is this person and what are they doing? I think the biggest challenge was finding a publishing house that was willing to take us seriously, that we could really do this via Zoom. And no, we didn't all need to sit in the same room. We wanted to,
Yeah.
but we...
So you found the publisher before you, excuse me, eye itches. You found the publisher before you started it?
The publisher actually was the last person that was added to our team. I know that may sound odd, and it's really backwards of how things are done in the industry, but because it was so difficult to get meetings with people, and we had the financial backing of the Small Business Administration, we were able to plow ahead and get the book. It wasn't print ready, but it was layout ready when we were done. So we had all of the patterns were tech edited. They all had been knit. They all had been photographed by Gail. So we had a relatively strong package to go with. So when I was going through and filling out the paperwork for the proposals, my proposal was 180 pages because I attached as the last page the additional information.
Yeah.
You have to be careful what you ask for, right? They got the whole thing.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
and we were really excited because we got the opportunity to work with the publicists that we're working with at the publishing house, and the editors were all women as well.
That's great. I
Yes.
love women doing this. So how can someone get the book?
Right now it's available online from various retail outlets, and the book itself is out on June 1st. So if you'd like, I can pop by with an advance copy when I get them.
We love that.
Sure.
Yeah, and if you could do a trunk show,
Oh, that'd be fun.
we would love to have a trunk show of all the pieces, or if you have them all.
I have most of them.
Most of them, yeah,
A couple of them I've sent back to the
Yeah.
people who did the work
Sure.
on them.
of course. But we
would
would
love that.
love to have a trunk show. Maybe we'll have a special day or something.
Oh, that would be wonderful
Yeah.
fun.
Well, thanks for coming by. This looks really fun. I can't wait to see see all the projects from the book.
Well, thank you so much. I'm so glad that you saw me standing outside looking
Yes.
at the lovely window.
Rosann was standing outside, and I said, "Oh, can I help you?" Because we weren't opened, and she came in and she had sent me an email, and I was about to respond to you, or maybe I don't know where I saw it, Instagram somewhere, and so this was fortuitous that
Yes.
you agreed to come in and do an interview.
Well, thank you very much
So
for the opportunity.
we'll stay in touch.
I will look
That'd
forward
be
to
great.
it.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Rosann.